Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and today I'm going to be reacting to the Sabaton animated story video, No Bullets Fly. This is new for my channel in two ways. One is I've never done an animated video before and I'm very interested to see what they do with this. And two is this is the first, it's only my third Sabaton video, but it's the first one I'm doing that I have absolutely no context for whatsoever. The first one, when I did Christmas Truce, I knew a reasonable amount about the Christmas Truce. That's, was not an unfamiliar story to me at all. The second one, when I did Bismarck, that is a story I have a second-degree connection to, and so I know that one really pretty well. This one, I have no clue whatsoever. I don't know. I saw the sort of title of their, as they put it, the name of the incident, which, for reference, was the Charlie Brown and Franz Stiegler incident. That means nothing to me. It's a story I know nothing about. I know it involves planes because the 0-second freeze frame on this video is of planes, and that's about it. So I'm going into this with absolutely no point of reference, which I think is going to be really interesting because it's my third way of reacting to Sabaton. Something I know reasonably well, something I know very well, something I know nothing about. So I think that's going to be fun. So yeah, I don't think I really have a lot to add to this at this point in time. I haven't looked at any other information to see if there's anything that's going to trigger any memories or anything like that. So I'm just going to jump into it with possibly my shortest intro to date. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time. The way I work is I'm going to watch this through from beginning to end without stopping, emote and comment over the top of it, and then go back, watch it again, and this time pause, interrupt, and offer what commentary and analysis I feel I can over the top. Please do like this video if you enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button. If you would like to be notified when I post, you can hit the bell to decide how frequently it is. It's usually 5 PM EST on a Friday, except for a few bonus videos here and there. And please, if you would like to, head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, where you can donate to support the channel. And I would like to say a quick thank you to someone, and also to Jennifer Smith. Both of whom bought me many coffees recently, and I'm very grateful to you for your support of the channel. Thank you very much indeed. I think that's it. This is super short, but that's the nature of it when I don't know the video that I'm watching. So this is going to be Sabaton's animated video for their song No Bullets Fly. What am I doing? I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. It's one of those days. Here we go. Sorry, momentary break there. Timmy came down. I thought he was going to come and visit us, and then he trotted back upstairs again. I think he may have clocked when I have the headphones on that I'm doing something. He's always welcome, but yeah, he's a smart kitty. Anyway, without further ado, this is Sabaton's No Bullets Fly animated story video.
It's December the 20th, 1943, and in the freezing air high above Germany, Second Lieutenant Charles Charlie Brown is at the controls of his B-17F, ye old pub. At 11:30,
that's an amazing
approaching
name.
the target of the Focke-Wulf plant near Bremen.
That's also a lot of bombers.
The pub is rocked as 4 explosions
if they're
go
hitting
off
an aircraft
right
plant,
in
that
front
makes a
of
lot
the
of sense.
B-17. A cry comes across the intercom. We're hit.
I can't imagine what being in a flat storm
huge
must
hole
have
had
been
been
like.
made. An icy cold wind was being blown inside, making freezing conditions for the crew. Engine 2 had been hit.
These things must have been
Co-pilot
terrifying to fly at the
Spencer
best of
Pinky Luke
time.
let out an expletive as he noticed a huge hole in the right wing.
Oh my god.
Releasing their bombs over the factory, the crew turned to the north, planning to head over the coast, then turn west for home. With one engine out and engine 4 now faulty, the pub started to fall back from the formation with another damaged plane. Sam Blackie Blackford in the bull turret watched as it disappeared into a cloud bank. There was an orange flash in the cloud. Bandits, Eki shouted as 5 BF-109s streaked from the cloud bank. Then another cry. Bandits, as 8 FW-190s were
really
spotted in formation ahead of the pub. Sergeant Bertram Frenchy Coulomb in the turret shot the 190 out of the sky. The navigator, Al Doc Sadek, took out the second. Pinky reported that engine 3 had been hit. That left just one engine at full power. The BF-109s attacked the pub from behind, swarming all over. But due to the cold wind running through the pub, most of the guns were frozen.
Oh!
In a turn now,
Oh,
the
that's
pub
not
was
good.
repeatedly hit,
Wow.
taking extreme damage
think about that.
and killing the tail gunner. A shell penetrated and exploded near the waist gunners, injuring the crew and creating a huge hole. The oxygen
How is
supply
it still
was taken
flying?
out,
Oh
and
my-
the pub spun towards the ground.
How is it
The
flying?
crew,
Okay, it's not flying.
unconscious due to lack of oxygen, the B-17 fell for 4 miles.
Oh,
Charlie started to come around and grabbed the controls, pulling back as the plane continued to fall. 5,000
Oh my
feet,
goodness.
4,000 feet, 3,000 feet. Just moments from hitting the earth.
The effort that
plane
must have
pulled up,
taken.
almost scraping the
pulling a
trees as
plane
it
out of
did.
a dive is no mean feat, let alone with only one fully functioning engine. That's... wow. Excellent riff, I like this. Ooh, how is it flying? Oh no, more fighters.
From W, one enemy spotted. So hurry up, rearm and refuel. But through the bombers damage that bring. See wounded men scatter the ball. Look to the
Wow.
right and then look again. And see the enemy
To be able to look
in the eye.
into an aircraft, not through a window,
Spare by his mercy.
through the side.
Sort it out. Have it on the bomb's way. Fight it back.
Really?
It's the code of the air.
Wow, that's incredible. He did this? Well, of course he did, but... He escorted them out? Oh. That's... wow. I did not know this story. That's... wow. That is an amazing amount of honor, but... you know, honor in the sky, sure, but... I mean, also, all's fair in love and war, which I don't necessarily agree with, but... who could have blamed him for taking out a crippled enemy, but... wow. The music is awesome as well. It can be hard to focus on the music in a Sabaton music video, because there's so much happening. But this is awesome. That's amazing. He did this for them. Excuse me. Wow. I hope he didn't get into too much trouble for that. That's such a noble thing to do.
The story was kept secret until 1986, when Brown started the search for the German pilot who had shown mercy on that December day all those years ago. In 1990, Brown received a letter from a man named Stigler, who was living in Canada. Stigler explained that he had been the pilot of the German fighter who had escorted Ye Olde Pub.
Really?
This video
They made
is of their
contact?
first meeting.
Franz, what were your feelings when you met again for the first time?
I was so happy as we met that I grabbed him, hugged him,
wasn't easy. Big time.
The fact that he risked his life really in many ways, and I wrote him in a letter. I said, if you made a habit of feeling sorry for bomber crews, flag up alongside them, I am sure that you were shot down many times. But it was not only the audacity that he came up to us and then recognizing the threat. If someone had seen him and reported him, it could have been a death sentence.
Yeah.
Franz gifted Charlie a book, and inside the inscription read,
That's probably
in
treason.
1940, I lost my
wartime.
only brother as a night fighter. On the 20th of December, 4 days before Christmas, I had the chance to save a B-17 from her destruction. A plane so badly damaged, it was a wonder that she was still flying. The pilot, Charlie Brown, is for me as precious as my brother was. Thanks, Charlie. Your brother, Franz.
Oh.
In 2008, within a few months of each other, the two firm friends went on their final journey. Franz Stigler never got the Knight's Cross, but as he always said, he got something better.
Oh. Oh. That's a beautiful story.
Mom, you go listen.
Hi, my name is Jovita Ten Stiegler. I would like to thank Sabaton and your song, No Bullets Fly. Because of this, the story of my father will live on. See you on your next concert tour. Safe journey, gentlemen, and again, thank you.
Oh. Oh, wow. That's... That is a story. My goodness. Excuse me. Those moments where you can hear a story from somebody or about somebody like this, and then realize that they got out of it okay and became friends. Whoa. Just wow. That's powerful. That is powerful. I had the same feeling when I saw the end of Band of Brothers. It's that kind of feeling. It's that kind of, what an incredible thing that somebody could do something so amazing. And yeah, as they said, thank goodness he wasn't reported, because I'm sure in wartime that's treason to save an enemy soldier, or in this case multiple airmen. Never mind. I mean, I would imagine that aircraft was probably written off when it landed, but you know, if they could have repaired it, I'm sure they would have done. I doubt a B-17 was a cheap thing to produce. They were big. Wow. This is something else. My goodness. Sorry, I need a moment. That is unbelievable. Also, what... I love that Sabaton are picking these moments of incredible bravery to highlight. And it's not bravery in the sense that somebody is... I mean, it could be. Like Bismarck, the attempt to sink the Bismarck was incredibly brave on the part of the people who did it, because the Bismarck was terrifying. And on the part of the Bismarck crew, what a last stand to keep it going for so long. The Christmas truce, on the other hand, complete opposite to that. It's this sense of finding camaraderie in a moment where a simple piece of communication, of singing, could trigger something as amazing as a truce for a day. This is different again, because it is that same respect for fellow human beings in the middle of combat, in a position where no communication other than sightlines was possible. It's not like that German pilot could holler out the window, you know, hey, you all okay? Or they could beg for mercy. Like it was what it was. And that is an amazing thing that was done there. Truly amazing. for that connection to have somehow been made, and what, you know, if Stiegler hadn't lost his brother, would he have done that? I don't know. But that he did do it at all is enough. And it's so beautiful that he could consider both the loss of his brother and the lack of earning a bravery medal, for which I'm sure he was well qualified, for the purposes of finding something that didn't even pay a true dividend for 40 years. That's phenomenal. That's humanity. Right there. And I think war is a dreadful thing, but it does have a habit of finding pockets of humanity. And it's a small saving grace in a terrible moment that can happen. Let's go back and check this out again. This is incredible. Also, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not going to stop as frequently during the animation, I don't think. We'll see. But obviously there's no music to discuss there. The narration is what the narration is. Very well narrated, incidentally. Let's actually have a look before I jump back in again. What information do I have? Thanks to the team at YarnHub for making this video. Okay, I don't know YarnHub, but we'll check them out. Thanks also to Adam Makos for giving permission to use the footage of the pilots meeting. Yes, thank you. That really made things special. You can read more about the story in his excellent book, A Higher Call. Okay. There's the usual historic fact and the link to their version. It doesn't say who the narrator is. That's a shame. If somebody knows, please let me know, because that narration is excellent. Yeah, let's go back and watch this again, and see what's what.
It's December the 20th, 1943, and in the freezing air high above Germany.
That is a lot of bombers. It makes complete sense that they were taking out an aircraft manufacturing facility, or a hangar. They say that, I can't remember the word they use, but you know, stopping production is a very solid way of gaining superiority in a form of combat, and to remove fighters from the air makes it safer for fighters and bombers on your side, of course. So that's a very big deal. These things move slowly. You know, they do sort of display it with the fighters flying around the flying around the craft later on. These are not maneuverable things. They turn like a beach whale. They're very effective for what they are, but what they are is not nimble or fast. Being a bomber crew member must have been a terrifying job. But yeah, this is a lot of bombers, so it makes, as I say, it makes sense that it's a high-value target.
Second Lieutenant Charles Charlie Brown is at the controls of his B-17F, ye old pub. At 11:30, approaching the target of the Focke-Wulf plant near Bremen. The pub is rocked as 4 explosions go off right in front of the B-17. A cry comes across the intercom.
I can't conceive of what it must be like to be in a flak storm. The munitions that are being thrown up here, fired by anti-aircraft guns, they fire off something that has, I can't remember if is it timed or is it altitude? I think it's timed. It's a timed explosive, so it flies up into the air and blows up when it hits its appropriate time. And what they would do with these is you would have multiple timings. So there would be a curtain of flak going off. So there would be blasts going off above you and below you and roughly where you were. The point being, there was no precision to an anti-aircraft gun. It's not like you aimed down it like a sniper rifle and pulled the trigger and bang, you hit the aircraft. You were just trying to do damage through collateral damage based on nearby explosion. Maybe you get lucky and hit the aircraft. It was not a precise form of attack. And so as a pilot, you have to fly, you're basically flying through a fireworks display, except the fireworks are more dangerous. And that I can't conceive of. The bravery of these men, the stoicism with which they kept flying, and this applies to fighter pilots as well, and you know, anybody who's up in the air, and for that matter, you know, parachute troops who are landing. If there was a flak storm going on, they might be jumping out of their planes into it, willingly or otherwise. It must have been a terrifying thing to do, so respect to every pilot on every side of the war for going through this, because my goodness, what an existence for even for a few seconds that must have been.
We're hit! In the plexiglass nose, a huge hole had been made. An icy cold wind was being blown inside.
Right, bear in mind, these things don't fly, they're not at 37,000 feet like a cruising airliner, but it's December. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be cold on the ground, let alone however high these... I don't know what the cruising altitude for a bomber was, let alone when it's coming in for an attack run. But to have that kind of air whistling through a cockpit, my goodness, that... oof.
Making freezing conditions for the crew. Engine 2 had been hit, and co-pilot Spencer Pinky Luke let out an expletive.
I actually do want to throw in an extra credit for YarnHub. This video is astonishing. The camera movements, the fact that the camera is not still, it is pivoting. There are pushes, there are pans, there is an amazing quality of cinematic experience here. And this really is a very, very well produced video. The angles are really good. Even seeing through in front of the pilot through the window. There's some beautiful moments in this. It's been really, really well animated.
As he noticed a huge hole in the right wing.
Like that lovely... and the defocus. That's huge.
Luke let out an expletive as he noticed a huge hole in the right wing. Releasing that...
It defocuses and focuses back in again. They're making it look like it's a camera, even though it's full animation. That attention to detail is brilliant.
Bombs over the factory, the crew turned to the north, planning to head over the coast, then turn west for home. With one engine out and engine 4 now faulty, the pub started to fall back from the formation with another damaged plane. Sam Blackie Blackford in the bull turret watched as it disappeared into a cloud bank. There was an orange flash in the cloud. Bandits, Eki shouted as 5 BF-109s streaked from the cloud bank.
That's an extraordinary thing too. What Cloud at this point in time, with no real sort of serious radar or anything like that, like you're relying on lookouts. Cloud must have been a terrifying thing, because what's going to fly out of it at a second's notice? That's extraordinary.
Then another cry. Bandits! As 8 FW-190s were spotted in formation ahead of the pub.
This is crazy. To have 5 Messerschmitts and 8 focke-wulfs on you, it's astonishing that this craft made it more than 100 feet further than it is now. I know one problem that the aircraft had, I mentioned this I think in my Bismarck reaction, the aircraft had with slower planes was they would pass them before they could effectively attack them, because they were going so slowly that the aggregate speed between the two, the fighter would be past the bomber in seconds, and it would actually, unless you wanted to fly straight into the back of the thing, holding a straight-on position to it to be able to fire effectively was very difficult for very long, for any period of time. But to have 13 fighters circling you at any given moment and to be able to have gotten out of that, that's impressive.
Sergeant Bertram Frenchy Coulomb in the turret shot the 190 out of the sky. The navigator, Al Doc Sadek, took out the second. Pinky reported that engine 3 had been hit. That left just one engine at full power. The BF-109s attacked the pub from behind.
That's bananas too. I'm sort of analysing the story now as we go. But to have only one functioning engine, this thing was built with 4 for a reason. Now, I can't speak to aviation back then, but I know these days it is possible, if extremely difficult, to fly modern aircraft that have 4 engines on 2. It is conceivably possible on 1. You just have a lot of challenge regarding the aircraft trying to turn. If you have one engine on the right-hand side working and none on the left, your plane is going to attempt to turn left as that engine pushes it in that direction. In these days, to have prop engines, to have 4 of them, and to have 3 of them out, I guess 2 of them out, 1 of them faulty. I don't know what faulty means. Hey, boy. Give me that. Oh. We have a visitor. Say hi to your fans. To have that situation with one of these things, not to mention it would be aerodynamically shot with the number of holes in it. That is not how a plane is supposed to be, especially coming right in the front. You've got an enormous amount of drag being applied to the plane right there, just for the fact that the air is coming straight into it and pushing against the back. This is amazing. Like, Charlie's ability to keep this plane flying is astonishing.
Swarming all over, but due to the cold wind running through the pub, most of the guns were frozen.
That's something I didn't consider, because of course you do have this situation where they're leaning out of the aircraft, but the cold air is streaming by them and maybe in at those points. It's not coming from the front. Never occurred to me the guns would freeze, but of course they would. It makes complete sense in December. It's probably minus something awful up there. And it wouldn't take an awful lot to jam the mechanism. Wow. Crazy.
In a turn now, the pub was repeatedly hit, taking extreme damage and killing the tail gunner.
I love the use of slow motion there. That is an excellent... Again, the number of cinematic devices they are putting into this, I'm not sort of diving into it because I've still got to react to the song, but or analyze the song, I should say. But it's amazing the detail that's going into this video.
Shell penetrated and exploded near the waist gunners, injuring the crew and creating a huge hole. The oxygen supply was taken out, and the pub spun towards the ground.
That's a serious thing, because the flying at this altitude in planes like this, where they're not cabin pressurized and all that sort of thing, oxygen is absolutely required. Just being able to breathe cleanly with air, with this situation with air rushing past you, breathing in a strong wind is tough. It takes the breath away from you before you can take it in properly. So that oxygen would have been critical. So it's no wonder that the pilots and the crew all passed out.
With the crew unconscious due to lack of oxygen, the B-17 fell for 4 miles. Charlie started to come around and grabbed the controls, pulling back as the plane continued to fall. 5,000 feet, 4,000 feet, 3,000 feet. Just moments from hitting the earth, the plane pulled up, almost scraping the trees as it did.
That's an astonishing feat. You listen to survivors of sort of situations where planes have been in dives, and pulling it out of the dive seems like an incredibly difficult thing to do, because you're working against all the forces of nature trying to drag this thing out of the air, and you're trying to say, no, I'm turning against that. That can't be easy. This is wow. Anyway, on to the song, but wow, this alone up to this point is an extraordinary bit of flying. I love the choice here to use white for the logo over the blue sky, almost like it's sort of not quite formed out of clouds, but you know what I mean. We're going for that vibe of white and blue, which makes complete sense. It's a really nice choice. I also really like the choice of font that they've used. It's kind of got that... it's got a period feel about it, whilst still being... it's not sort of some crazy script thing that's very difficult to read, which, of course, they wouldn't use, but it's very clean, and yet smacks of being older. I think it's a great choice for this. I love this riff that they've got going on. At least everything's sort of around bow 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 bow, and then you have this bow 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 bow. Just this little pattern that pushes out through it, and just it's this nice little punctuation against what the guitars are playing and the sort of general sort of harmonic mess that is down there. They've got all this going on, it is a clear line over the top, but the fact that they have those little pieces punching out really, really adds to the rhythm and the melody of what they've got going on there. Yeah, this is great. And then I like that the drums are only really emphasizing the down, 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 or whatever it is that's coming at the end of the phrase. They're not feeling the need to go with the guitar on those little punctuations. There is no need for that. It works perfectly well without. And I like that because it means that you have two different points of rhythmic interest going on at the same time that are not competing with each other, but are both keeping this thing interesting and keeping it... This is great. And it's such a lovely start of momentum. And I love that we're starting out with a powerful, heavy... fast rhythm. I feel like it could have been easy with this song to start off with something a little bit quieter, maybe start with some strings, kind of like we get in the breakdown a little later on, and then bring in the punch. And the fact that they don't really do that is great, because it means we immediately start the momentum. It gives us a sense that we're going to keep flying for a bit, tells us a little bit about what story, where this story is immediately going before the lyrics come in. It's really, really nice.
So hurry up, rearm and refuel.
It amazes me. I've seen videos of this. The speed with which someone can go from, I'm working on my aircraft or I'm tinkering with something over here to being airborne. They got up fast. And I'm sure they drilled for it. They drilled to get off the ground. Probably both to go on the attack and on the off chance that they saw bombers coming for them. It's astonishing how quickly they could get up in the air. Now, in this case, you have a crippled bomber. He probably didn't need to get up super fast because it's pointing in one direction. It's probably going to keep going in that direction, and it's not really going very fast. He could catch up with it relatively easily, but nevertheless, it's still very cool. And again, I just want to say kudos to all of these shots. Like, this is lovely with the sun above just flying through the air. With the sun rays too. Or not the sun rays, rather the shadows. Look at this as it flies over. The detail in this video. That passage as it flies in front of the sun. And shots like this, they didn't need to put something in the foreground of this shot. There was no necessity to do that, but it makes it so much more real by doing that. But this is excellent animation.
So hurry up, rearm and refuel. But through the bombers damage that bring, see wounded men scared to the bone.
It's also amazing that even though the models are very low detail, we're not seeing pores and particular, eyelashes and what the hair is flapping around, all that sort of thing. We're not seeing any of that. We're seeing these very low detail models, but the expression that they have managed to put into them is actually really impressive.
Right, and then look again. I see the enemy in the eye. No bullets fly, spare by his mercy. Escorted out of harm's way.
I mean, that's. I love that. I love the way that they've structured this. They see the enemy, no bullets fly. Now, they probably still can't fire. Their guns are probably still jammed. But by his mercy, no bullets fly. Because he could have shot them down already. I like that lyric structure, because the fact that we've got to that point before that statement is made, especially with the video, we've seen the enemy, we've looked him in the eye, he has voluntarily got that close. Because he could have come up behind them and been firing from 200 yards away and not thought more of it than that. Gone home, collected his Knight's Cross, job done. But that's not what he does. He flies up, and they support that with the way that the song is written. Great work. Going to go back on this because I actually want to listen to the music. There's so much going on in a Sabaton video, my goodness. I'm just going to go right back, actually.
One enemy spotted, so hurry up, rearm and refuel. But through the bombers damage that bring, see wounded men scared to the bone.
That's nice. We have the vocal quality that he's using there, as well as the emotion of the band underneath picking up some speed and some intensity. The fact that he's singing all of this stuff, enemy spotted, through airframe below, everything's falling. Everything's landing on that until he gets to the scared to the bone. And then it stays up. The emotion pushes it up high. It's a great musical choice. He's pushing a little harder. There's more energy in his voice. The band is swelling underneath. It's giving this motion towards this point that this guy has locked eyes with these guys and they're terrified. Justifiably so.
Look to the right and then look again. I see the enemy in the eye. No bullets fly, spared by his mercy. Escorted out of harm's way. Fighting fair, it's the code of the air. Brothers, heroes, foes.
Now they say fly fighting fair, it's the code of the air. I mean, obviously, you want, in an ideal world, everybody does fight fair. Is that a code? Is that something I'm not aware of? I haven't heard that before. I know a lot of the individuals had respect for the people that they were fighting. And in this case, this bomber is evidently no threat. The simple fact that it's flying for home, Stiegler probably recognizes at this point that there's probably no munitions on board. They'll have dropped them by now. It would also probably be risky in this condition to fly and retain the munitions, even if they'd still had them. I feel like they probably would have dumped them as long as they were capable of doing so, because if you crash with bombs on board, things aren't going to go very well. So he probably knows they're no threat, but it is still an enemy aircraft. And it is still, obviously, a well-trained enemy crew for the fact that they are able to keep this thing in the air. So, it's a... I don't know if that is a code or if he's... I mean, obviously he's going above and beyond, but is that something that a lot of people did? I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably not super common, given that this is a topic and a story. But it is something I'm not super familiar with. So curious to know in that regard. The animations of the band are also really good fun. I love that it would have been very easy to cut to live band and then cut back to animation again, and because it's contemporary day versus 1943, because it's wartime versus not wartime, because it's music versus visual, it would have been very easy to do that and probably actually make it feel pretty okay. But the fact that they animated the band as well, I love that. It's a great choice.
Goodbye to the cross, citizen. He risked his life 2 times a day to save an unknown enemy.
I imagine it probably would have been... That's an interesting thought. I wonder, for an anti-aircraft gunner at the time, what would be worse? To let an enemy aircraft go? Or to risk shooting down one of your own? Obviously, the idea of friendly fire is terrible. But, I mean, it also must have been very odd to them to see a German fighter escorting an Allied bomber. So what would have gone through their minds? Would they have thought it was, an ally had somehow stolen a German plane? I can't imagine what that would have looked like. And I don't know how somebody would have responded to that. But, surely seeing an Allied bomber, your thought would be take it out of the sky. That's an interesting one. If anyone has any insight into that particular thought, I would love to know. Because I don't know. I've never heard of this happening before. I've never heard, a dogfight in the sky, sure. But otherwise, to have opposing planes next to each other not engaging in combat? Yeah, that's a new one on me. The crew of the B-17, I'm sorry, I'm thinking a lot about story of this one because this story is just so extraordinary. How long were they distrustful of this pilot? Like, is there a point where you think he's just going to turn around and change his mind and take us out of the sky? I don't know. I mean, obviously they've established some form of tentative respect. But, yeah, I can't imagine what any of this would have felt like. It's just so bizarre. Anyway, going back a little bit, I've been... too many things!
Out of the kill zone, a short salute, and that power blind, fighting fair, is the code of the air. Brothers, heroes, foes.
I love the climb that we have through all of that. I'm going to jump back on it.
Kill zone, a short salute, and that power blind, fighting fair, is the code of the air. Brothers, heroes.
All the way through that, you have that lovely climbing bass line, and then even as the bass line drops down a little bit, you still have Joachim going up. Heroes! And it's only on foes that he starts coming back down again. Sorry, my voice is shot tonight.
Of the air.
That's just really nice because it does give this sense of climbing. You know, you're high up, which is what these aircraft are. It gives a sense of optimism. And what does interest me is you have these heroes, even as the bass line goes down, and then foes, which they still are. Just because these men have decided not to fight in this moment doesn't mean that they are not still enemy fighters. If a bunch of Spitfires came across this right now, I imagine they'd have the same quandary as the anti-aircraft gunner did, but given that they're not as indiscriminate about their targeting, they would probably descend upon this guy in a second. So he is still an enemy. I don't know what would have happened, but again, extraordinary thing. But I love that it's on foes. We still come down. Foes! Just that hint of uncertainty still? That's a really good musical choice. I also love that cross he deserved. You get this cross he deserved up higher, above Joachim. It's nice because there is something. You know, the Knight's Cross is an honor. I'm not 100% sure what that is awarded for, but presumably bravery or skill. Was this guy an ace? I don't know. If he's getting a cross, obviously he's in line for doing something good, but I'm not sure what the criteria are. Regardless, he's being honored in some way, shape, or form. And so having that higher harmony is nice because it kind of recognizes the honor that is potentially there, that he is casting away in order to do this incredible thing. I love this solo. I think this is excellent playing. I assume this is Tommy that's playing this. And I love that it's not... There's something quite reflective about it, and I appreciate that. It's sort of... It's less bombastic than it could be. It's still very impressive. But there's something about it that's giving space for what's happening. I really like that. Again, we get to this sort of breakdown, and it's actually it stays quite hollow. It doesn't, we've lost, you know, if you look at the frequency range that's being filled right now, it's shrunk considerably from where it was in the chorus, say. And I like that too, because what it's doing is it's allowing for there to be a build, but the way they've structured it, it's not really building tension. It doesn't need to. We've kind of picked up by now that they're going to make it back. And so we don't need that sense that something's about to go horribly wrong. And it's great because it allows for something different. It allows us to build to another place going into the final chorus. And it just does so in a way that is very... It's not antagonistic to what the story is trying to do. They haven't gone for something flashy for the sake of it. They've crafted it to the story that's going on, which is exactly what I'd expect. And I really like that that's what they've done. And then we drop even further back. And now we've got drums, we've got bass, we've got a little bit of guitar, and then we've got these pads in the background. And it's so gentle, this music right now. Again, it's not threatening, it's not increasing in tension. It's just allowing this moment to happen. It's allowing them to get close enough to the English coast that by the time... I assume that's where they're flying to. I may be wrong about that. 1943, would they be? Yeah, they'd be landing in England by now. There's no they're allowing it to get close enough for the finale to happen once things are happening again. But it's nice that they've got this transition music. It's giving us a little bit of a sense of time. It's saying to us, hey, Stiegler stayed there for a while. Charlie didn't have this escort for 20 seconds. He had it for a good long while, and the fact that they've allowed the music to do that is great. And then this lovely vocalization. Oh, it's got this kind of upbeat quality to it. It's got this sense of we're building, but we're not building tension, we're simply building to the climax. We're increasing what's going on, we're making it sound impressive, we're growing to the point where this thing is going to resolve in a positive way. Really smart writing. And it's that sense of camaraderie, of men singing together in this unison, growing kind of, it just has this vibe of harmony. Not musical harmony, but physical harmony. That everything's working together right now to achieve where we're about to be. And that's lovely. That last look is lovely. I can't get over how well filmed this is. Like, this is amazing. Watching him fly away. We've seen the last look between Franz and Charlie. Now we see Franz fly away through the side of the aircraft. One, that's a damn cool shot. Two, we don't need another look from Charlie. We've had the one that mattered. And so they've put this shot right where it should be, which is not in the cockpit. Brilliant work. I'm curious what that was. Is that are we going to make it home? Or is that did we just get escorted by a German fighter? What are you doing? This is the one bit I wasn't sure of. I don't quite know what the interaction is that's happening right here, but I do love that we cut to Joachim in the same pose, almost, as Charlie was in that moment. He must have thought in that moment, I'm getting court-martialed and shot for this. The fact that he wasn't reported for this, I'm so grateful that he wasn't. Because that's not how you reward this kind of nobility. Also, landing on snow. Yikes. Would never have wanted to do that. Can you imagine the relief they must have felt when they saw tarmac and had something to aim at to get themselves out of this hell?
The story...
And that would have been a lovely moment right there, if it had just ended with them looking up in the sky. That would have been beautiful. And then we get this. And I love, again, the animation now, you know, reenacting this with the model airplanes. It's,
The story was kept secret until 1986, when Brown started the search for the German pilot who had shown mercy on that December day all those years ago. In 1990...
I love that too!
Shown mercy on that December day...
That we cut from the animated pose directly to the same pose in real life. That's beautiful.
All those years ago. In
That's how you cut out of animation into real life. That was just so clean.
1990, Brown received a letter from a man named Stigler, who was living in Canada.
How did he find him? I'm sure there's many ways, but, 1990, the internet's not around yet. How did he find him? That's astonishing. I know there are ways of doing it. The Channel Dash Memorial Trust that I was a member of before it was disbanded were in touch with the grandson of Vice Admiral Otto Ciliax, who commanded the Scharnhorst at the time of my grandfather's attack. But that, I don't know when that happened, but I think that happened later, and finding people then, that's not too difficult. They've got ways of doing it. Back in the 1990s, that would have been diligence. And the fact that it took 4 years, well, up to 4 years, 86 to 90, to actually find him and get a letter back from him, that's astonishing. Well, that's beautiful in and of itself, that he went to that much trouble. What a wonderful thing.
Stigler explained that he had been the pilot of the German fighter who had escorted Ye Olde Pub. This video is of their first meeting.
Franz, what were your feelings when you met again for the first time?
I was so happy as we met that I dropped him, helped him.
As it should be. That's how people should meet. Let alone after all this time and after such an extraordinary thing. But, oh my goodness.
Was it easy?
The fact that he risked his life really in many ways, and I wrote him in a letter. I said, if you made a habit of feeling sorry for bomber crews, flag up alongside them, I am sure that you were shot down many times. But it was not only the audacity that he came up to us and then recognizing the threat. If someone had seen him and reported him, it could have been a death sentence.
Franz gifted Charlie a book, and inside the inscription read, "In 1940, I lost my only brother as a night fighter. On the 20th of December, 4 days before Christmas, I had the chance to save a B-17 from her destruction. A plane so badly damaged, it was a wonder that she was still flying.
Yep.
The pilot, Charlie Brown, is for me as precious as my brother was. Thanks, Charlie. Your brother, Franz." In 2008, within a few months of each other, the two firm friends went on their final journey. Franz Stigler never got the Knight's Cross, but as he always said, he got something better.
And then for his grandson to hear this.
Mark, go listen.
Hi, my name is Jovita Ten-Stiegler. I would like to thank Sabaton and your song, No Bullets Fly. Because of this, the story of my father will live on. See you on your next concert tour. Safe journey, gentlemen, and again, thank you.
That is wonderful. That is extraordinary. That is so extraordinary that this if this doesn't prove what an amazing thing music is, I don't know what does. The fact that this thing could happen. 43, when was this released? I don't know. Let's have a look. Music video came out in 2020. 77 years later. Obviously it had happened by this point. So let's say this came out, 73, 74 years later. I don't know exactly when. This gets released, and not only does it tell this story, but it reaches the people the story is about. Or at least their descendants. That is astonishing and beautiful and a testament to the power of what is possible in terms of humanity, in terms of connection, and in terms of creating a better world, really. Music is an astonishing thing, and the stories music are based on can also be astonishing things. And this was just remarkable. I love this so very much. I realize I did not say thank you at the beginning of the video, and I do need to. In particular for this one, I think a few people recommended this when I first did Christmas Truce, but Lee Chowning, The Wrench Reviews, and Karina Rodebeck, thank you very much for recommending No Bullets Fly. I am very grateful to you folks. This was an astonishing video, and I really enjoyed that. That's going to be it for this week. Please do like this video if you enjoyed it. I hope I managed to bring something awesome to you, whether it was the video itself or thoughts about it. Please do subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to see when you would like to be notified about my stuff going live. And if you would care to, please do head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, where you can donate to support the channel if you would care to do so. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I really appreciate you being here with me for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.